Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. It is the middle of winter and most of the US right now is going through a bit of a cold snap. So I've come back down into the basement workshop. We've brought the We Create Vision in here and I wanted to play around with a project I've dabbled with in the past on some other things, but thought we'd give it a shot on this laser as well. So what I have are these canvas boards. You can use either the pre-stretched canvas or these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer up some paint on here. And then we're going to do a test grid on at least one of them and see if we can dial in the settings to burn off the various layers, exposing the different colors. And then we'll run some images through and see how that turns out. So hopefully at the end of this video, we'll have some cool art. So if this is something that interests you, you want to find out how it works, stay tuned. We're going to jump right into it. All right, so we're getting prepped for paint here. I'm using Rust-Oleum 2x Multicolor, and I'm just simply giving it a nice coat in both directions with each paint layer and allowing it to dry in between each. After this, we'll let it dry overnight. All right, so I do have these all prepped and ready to go. These have been drying and curing for quite a few days. You don't want to do this fresh, so you want to make sure all that paint gets cured. We did then, as you saw, we started with the white, got a nice base coat of that on there, then applied our orange, and then a nice top coat of the black as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these. We're going to set up a test grid and see if we can find the settings that are going to expose each color, see how that looks, and then we'll go ahead and find a photo to run through this. So, all right, so to set up our test environment, I'm bringing in my canvas there. You can barely see it, but I'm going to draw a box and then set up our material testing array. I'm going to be adjusting the power and speed. I want increments of 10% power, and our speed I'm going to be going from 100 to 600 millimeters a second. And then I'm going to bring it over on the canvas. We'll size it down a little bit. We don't want to use the whole canvas in one. Just kind of make sure it's getting lined up, and then we will send it to the laser. All right, so I've completed the scan test. I actually ended up running it a few different times. The first one was obviously way too fast, too much power, so I stopped it early. And then I slowed it down and went from 80 to 140 millimeters a second and 10 to 35% power. And so that's what you see here. And we were just kind of starting to get some of the oranges. So there again, I dropped the power back again, sped it up a little bit more. Down at this bottom one, you can see now I went from 150 to 225 millimeters a second and only from 10 to 20% power. And that's where we start actually seeing a gradient there. Now it's not perfect. We're not getting complete solid colors, but that's not necessarily what we're going for here because due to the nature of the paint and how it gets applied and whatnot, it's really tricky to get just solid orange and whatnot. But we're also going to be using dithered images, so we'll be okay with this. Based off of this one though, I think what I'm going to do is set it up for about 175 millimeters a second, going from 10 to 20% power on my images. So that kind of gives us everything from the orange all the way up to the white. And then anything black should be 0% power. So next what we want to do is I'm going to do another test on here. We will take an image, we will set it up. We're going to need to invert it in the software. And then we will run it on this piece here to kind of do as a test before we use our other one in the full frame. So let's get that set up and run. All right, so we're going to go ahead and import our image and we'll bring it in. It's a nice campfire scene. We're just going to size it down to that corner that's accessible. We're going to invert the image, adjust our sharpness and contrast, plug in our numbers from our speed test, and send it to the laser. All right, so that finished up, and here is what it looks like. It's not too bad. We are getting multiple colors, and by inverting the image in the software, the highlights are the brightest, and of course that's where we're getting our whiter colors. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and set up a picture that is going to cover full canvas. We'll get it prepped in the software with basically the same settings. I think that came out pretty well at 175 millimeters a second and maximum of 20% power. And then we will go ahead and send that into the We Create Vision. All right, so we're going to go ahead and import our other image now, and this is a Balrog scene from Lord of the Rings. I'm going to scale it down a little bit, try to fit it on the canvas, but with that black background, it's having a hard time. So go ahead and just temporarily draw a box the same size and try to align that to it, give us a better representation. And I don't want to cut off too much of the photo, so I'm playing around adjusting it, and we'll tweak our contrast and our sharpness, make sure it's inverted, and then go ahead and plug in our power and speed settings again. All right, and here we have it. The finished canvas print is done. It took, I think, right around 40 minutes. It doesn't tell you the end time there, and I had to stop and start my time lapse, so I didn't get a good recording of how long this took, but it's all right. I wish I maybe had gotten a little more orange in there, so possibly playing with the power settings or the contrast a bit more, but overall, I think it's nice. The original photo, as you maybe noticed me playing with it, is a lot wider than this. So I unfortunately have these bands top and bottom, but if I wanted to keep this and make it look nice, I'd probably just build a frame to put around it, and then it would kind of hide that a little bit. But hopefully this gives you an idea of what you can do. Key things are you want to layer your paint, but you want to get them all down within the time frame. I strongly recommend using the same brand paint for all 3 layers. And even if you use white canvas, start with that white base layer of paint. If you don't, what I've found in the past is when you go and maybe just wipe this down a little bit, the canvas will soak up some of that color and you'll get some kind of smudging, but that base white paint will help prevent that. And then just make sure it fully cures. So get your paint colors down within the time frame that you can coat and recoat it. And then let these dry and cure for, I would say, at least a day before you go and engraving them. Otherwise, it can be still kind of a little sticky, and with your air assist and other things, it can kind of make a mess of your laser and not work as great. But anyway, just a fun project you can play around with. This worked pretty well on the We Create Vision. This is a 20-watt diode. Obviously, you can use most any laser. You'll just need to run that speed and power test to dial in where you're going to kind of get your different colors and contrasts. So if you're interested in anything you saw in this video, I will have links down below to all the things used in here, including links for the laser, the paint, these canvas boards and such. Some of those will be affiliate links, and those do go help and support this channel a little bit with a small kickback to me at no extra cost to you, and always appreciate you using those. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I had some fun playing around with this and making it. So if you have any questions or comments about this or anything else you've seen in my workshop, any questions on the laser, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do a lot of projects, a lot of tutorials, and some initial product reviews of interesting things that come out. So if you want to see more of that, definitely hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I will be back at it with more things soon to come, and I hope to see you then. But in the meantime, I hope you can get out in your workshop and make something too. We'll catch you next time.